for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
You know what I'm saying? We just growing. Trill Entertainment, it consists of Booster, you know, that's my calling my brother. You know, that's my thug. You know, we come from the mud together with this. You know, it started off with his solo album. That's the first album Trill Entertainment ever dropped. His solo album for Lil Boost called For My Thugs. Then we came back with a duet, me and Boost. It's called Ghetto Story. Then we come with the mixtape, Boost and Webby mixtape. Then we come back with another album, Boost and Webby Gangsta Music, and that's what got the deal. I had a song on there, Give Me That. You know, and we should reach out. You know, it was big. We got a youngster named Fox. You know, he on now. He came with the White Man out track, and him and Boosie remixed it up. You know how that go. We got 3 Deep. You know, that's Mouse. Mouse, he made the beats. He made the Give Me That beat. He made the Bad Chick beat. He made Wipe Me Down, Zoom. He made the Independent. You know, he did a lot of the beats. You know, I met him in high school. Now they that 3 Deep. We got a cat from New Orleans. His name's Shell. And Lil Fat. You know, he one of the CEO's son. You know, I've been knowing him since he was like 8. You know what I'm saying? Now he wife's husband. Now he getting in there. You know, so now they're a group. 3 Deep. They got the song Wash My Shoes and Do It, Stick It. And Lil Fat, he on the singer, the independent singer. He the one in the middle. That rap. We just trying to do it right now. Good luck to New Orleans, you know. We grew up watching Cash Money emerge and No Limit emerge. We was right there watching it happen. Like we was seeing like, damn, them boys finna be big. We knew it, you know.
Because, you know, it seems like a lot of stuff was going on while you were in jail.
Right.
With Trill, from, you know, the charges that Church and Mel had.
Right.
And even, you know, for the murder of Lil Fat.
Right.
I guess, how are you dealing with that while you were in prison?
I was like, man, bro, like, I was just like, man, we going through it. I was like, man, we going through it. When Turk done beat they charge, I was smiling. You know, I was sitting in my cell. I was on death row then. I was smiling, man. I was so happy, you know. I was like, we beat them bitches. You know, I was smiling. I was happy as shit.
Well, 2 Baton Rouge music label managers are again facing attempted murder charges. Melvin Vernell Jr. and Marcus Roach managed Trill Entertainment in Baton Rouge. They are accused of trying to kill a rival rapper back in 2005. They were charged in September of 2005, but those charges were dismissed then. New charges were filed last year, but a judge then dismissed those charges. The First Circuit Court of Appeal disagreed with that particular judge, reinstating the attempted murder and other charges. So far, though, there's been no word on what will happen next.
Hey, what's the word? Shit got Popalot. We back on MOBB business. We just pulled into Louisiana. We headed to the capital city, BR. Y'all meet us in Baton Rouge. Now, we all know about New Orleans and their contributions to hip-hop history, with them producing 2 of the most iconic independent labels in Cash Money and No Limit. But there's another town less than 100 miles away that will also make a name for themselves in producing talent, with acts like Kevin Gates, NBA Youngboy, Fredo Bang, as well as Boosie and Webby. And in the early 2000s, it was a label that will arguably have as much talent as their counterparts in New Orleans. The label would be discovered or founded by one of the biggest pioneers in Southern hip-hop history. So with that recipe, it sounds like the making of another hip-hop conglomerate. But the label would face the death of one of their star artists, who was also the son of one of the 2 CEOs on the label, both of whom would find themselves in a 6-year-long legal battle where they would see charges dropped, brought up again, and a lawyer would even get indicted. Those 2 men that I'm speaking about is going to be Mel Vernell Jr. and Marcus Turk Roach. On the backs of them 2 and their flagship artist, They would go on to make Trill Entertainment one of the hottest labels in the game. Sometime in or around 2001, Mel Turk would link up with Pimp C, one half of the legendary Texas group UGK. Now I wonder how they met. With a cosign from Pimp C and a roster that included Boosie, Webby, Fox, and eventually two sons of the CEOs, Little Trill and Little Fat. Little Boosie would release the label's first project, For My Thugs, in 2002. The album would feature Pimp C as well as Webby. Now, if you was tuned in with hip-hop, it would be kind of right around this time where you would begin to hear the name, but unless you was in a certain part of the South, you were not able to put a face or even a voice to that name you've been hearing. And that mainly being because the radio wasn't playing that in certain regions. And with them coming up independently, they was still considered underground. But that wouldn't last long with the steady emergence of the internet and things like mixtape websites, because by the summer of 2003, Boosie and Webby would collaborate on a project that was presented by Pimp C titled Ghetto Stories. The album was rumored to sell more than 100,000 copies, which would be considered a huge success independently. And it would be that project that would essentially make Boosie and Webby household names. And by the time the label released the duo's next project, Gangster Music, in May of 2004, they would both begin to be heard on the radio nationally, as they would both have semi-hits on the project. Boosie with Swerve, and Webby with Gimme That, featuring Bun B. Behind that national radio play, that project would go on to sell more than 300,000 copies. So with multiple artists on the label heating up, it definitely looked like we was looking at the next No Limit or Cash Money. But y'all know shit don't stay all good all the time. And there would be a shooting in July of 2005 outside the shop Smart Music and Fashions that would start a series of unfortunate events for the upstart label. In that incident, that was reported by WAFB CBS 9, at about 5:30 on the day in question, a guy by the name of Bruce Belo Miller would be shot in his face outside of that shop that he owned. He would be taken to Earl K. Long Hospital, where he would be listed in stable condition. No suspects were immediately named, but WAFB would report that witnesses would state that whoever shot Belo did it because they were upset about him selling bootleg music. Eventually, the police would determine that he had been shot by Mel Turk, the CEOs of Trill Entertainment, over an issue that would stem from him bootlegging Lil Boosie and Webby's music. The pair would be charged with attempted murder, and it would start the process of a 6-year-long legal battle for the CEOs, starting with the charges being dropped about a year after the shooting, in or around 2006, after prosecutors would take too long to try the case. Seemingly with that out the way, the label would push forward, going on to drop epic singles like Wipe Me Down and Independent. But the label would take a huge hit in December of 2007 with the overdose death of their founder, the legendary Pimp C. In the years after this, Trill would see some of their flagship artists begin to leave the label. But things only got worse for the upstart label when, in 2010, the Louisiana Supreme Court would choose to reopen the attempt murder case on Marcus Roach and Melvin Varnell Jr. And then a twist, an attorney by the name of Peter Q. Johns, who once represented Belo, would be indicted on allegations that he had interfered with the attempted murder probe involving the Trill Entertainment CEOs back in 2006. Johns, who fancied himself as the thug lawyer, would eventually have those charges dropped against him. And in the beginning of November 2011, Melvin Varnell Jr. and Marcus Roach would end up pleading guilty to a lesser charge of battery. The label would begin to sign other artists that were doing their thing regionally, like Bambino Gold. And it seemed like with the legal troubles behind the CEOs, they were ready to take off right where they left off. But everything would change on June 7, 2012, when Mel's son, Little Fat, would be shot and killed outside of Northside Hospital in Atlanta. With Boosie incarcerated, facing the death penalty, Webby going through it, and the death of Little Fat, that seemed just like too much for the label. And when you look at them at their height, it's really hard to say that they wasn't going to be the next No Limit or Cash Money. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red subscribe button and the bell right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box, y'all flooded. Let us know where we need to go. Y'all see we everywhere. Who was the biggest gangsters in your city? What's going on around the town? Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all send y'all requests through the direct message. I'm going to reply right back. Y'all know the rundown. It's your boy Popalot. I'm going to be back with some more for real mob tie shit.